Welcome to IELTS On Air. I'd like to share some information about how the speaking part of the test is done and the types of things that are quite overlooked in my opinion. The information I will provide here in this platform is a bit different. To be fully ready to take the test, you should work on your language skills first, that is for sure. But you should also have some awareness of certain things which can make a big difference to your overall performance. The speaking exam always starts with a brief introduction, and the examiner will start a recorder and a timer before she asks your full name and nationality. You also need to show your identification or passport to the examiner at the beginning of the interview. The test lasts about 14 minutes, and the examiner will have a timer to follow the time. It is the examiner's job to follow the time and conduct the test. You just need to follow the instructions. And do not take it personally when she stops you from time to time. It is never about your performance. So the first part of the test takes about 5 minutes, and the examiner will do her best to reach 5 minutes. And if your answers are too short, she may then ask you why to give more details. See the example conversation. Do you prefer to watch movies at the cinema or at home? At home. Why? It is more comfortable. Why? If she is repeatedly asking you why when you answer the question, then this means your answers are inadequate, and it won't be good for your fluency score. The purpose of asking why is to make you speak more so that you can provide a range of vocabulary and grammatical structures. So help her see your language skills, but in the first part, please do not try to extend your answers to the point where she cannot ask questions. Remember, she's also trying to do her job. You need to find a balance. Your answers shouldn't be too short or overly long. Give appropriately long answers and do not try to speak fast, as this will also negatively affect your pronunciation. In the first part, you'll be asked up to 10 questions. It always begins with place of living, types of job you do, or study questions. And this is actually a warm-up for the rest of the test. After that, the examiner will choose 2 topics and will ask you a few questions about them. When she says, let's talk about blah blah, please pay attention to that because this will give you an idea about the content of the questions and you will have a better understanding of the context. You can ask the examiner if you don't understand a word, and you can also ask her to repeat the question. But remember, she's only allowed to repeat once. So dear friends, you cannot expect her to repeat the question over and over again until you get it right. Unfortunately, that is why you really need to focus well during the test. And please do not ask for clarifications in the first part, such as, do you mean this? Or do you mean that? No, she's not allowed to provide explanations in the first part. When you don't understand a question, just ask for a repetition. This is all you can do in the first part. And don't be resentful to the examiner because she's just following the rules. It's not about not liking you or not liking your answers. Hope this part is clear. When the examiner says, thank you, and stops you, please do not continue speaking. Again, she will stop you because the test has to move forward to the next part. Remember, she is following the time. Don't worry, interviews are recorded and examiners are regularly monitored. the same standards apply to each and every candidate. The second part of the test lasts about 4 minutes. And here you'll be given a topic card and you will have 1 minute for preparation and you'll be talking up to 2 minutes. This part is a monologue. The examiner chooses the topic, so don't ask her if she can change the topic. She cannot. She's not allowed to. Here, do not also ask the examiner questions like, "Can I make it up?" Well, if you want to make it up, do it, but do not reveal it to the examiner. Because firstly, as she does not know you, she cannot know what you're talking about is true or not. And secondly, they don't care if it's true or not. Remember, this is an exam where your English level is being tested. They aren't really asking you those questions out of curiosity. The examiner is not really interested in knowing about your favorite meal. The task is just a tool that she uses to see your English level. And in the second part, please take your time to take some notes when you're given the task card, the paper, and a pencil. Use this 1 minute fully. Talking for 2 minutes can feel really long, and many of you do not realize it. And again, do not speak fast and make sure you cover all the questions in the task. Many candidates tend to skip the very last question that begins with "explain." I will talk about these details in another video. Also, if you believe you have fully answered the questions, and if there's still some time left, then you can also talk about another thing. If you have nothing left to say, then state clearly. That is all I can say. Let's continue with the third part, which takes about 5 minutes. Dear friends, I always say this part is where you really show your language skills. This is the part where the examiner distinguishes between 6.5 and 7 or between 8 and 9. So please pay attention to this part. For some reason, everyone is afraid of the second part as it's a monologue. But believe me, the third part is the hardest as you need to talk about more on abstract topics. Unfortunately, many students do not understand the nature of the third part or the style of language that is required. In the third part, you need to discuss things in general. Do not try to personalize your answers. If you do so, the examiner will warn you about not to give personal details. I will talk about it in detail in another video. Now here, the questions will be formulated according to the level of the candidate. But still, low level of candidates are also expected to discuss things in general. Well, I have a good news. Here, you can ask the examiner for clarifications. But if you constantly do this, it will then affect your fluency. So please, do not always try to be 100% sure whether you get the question right or not. Ask for the clarifications when you really need to. As the third part is a discussion, the examiner will ask you some additional questions based on what you have said. You may feel slightly challenged, but this isn't to challenge your opinions or to judge you. It is all about creating an environment where you can fully demonstrate your skills on how to discuss abstract topics. So she will interrupt you from time to time, will ask you for clarification or elaboration sometimes, and also she will increase the difficulty as the discussion continues. Dear friends, again, do not take things personally when you are interrupted. This isn't about you or your performance. This is how the third part is conducted. This part is to see how well you handle discussions. So, what is a discussion? It is a process of talking about different topics to exchange ideas. So imagine you're invited to a discussion program on YouTube or on television. How would you answer the questions of the host? Please watch some discussion programs or podcasts to understand the nature of discussion. Pay attention to the guest and how he or she answers the questions without personalizing things. This will help. When the exam is over and the examiner says, "Thank you, that is the end of the test," please just say, "Thank you," and leave. Do not ask about your performance or any other details about the test. Remember, the examiner is not allowed to chat with the candidate, or she is not allowed to give you feedback. If you have questions about the results or other things, please talk to the test center staff who are waiting for you in the other room. Or you can always call the customer service. If you want to leave the test early, you will get 0. If you don't understand anything, even if you struggle a lot, do not leave the test. Just use it as an opportunity to see how the interview is done, so you will at least have some experience. As far as I can see, being able to stay calm and having some previous experience can be as helpful as a good English level. You should of course work on your language skills, but you also need to be able to manage your stress and emotions. To me, success depends on different dynamics. I would say 60% language skills and 40% stress management. If you panic a lot, you may not be able to understand even the simplest questions. Please see my other video on stress management to learn about how to deal with exam stress. And please do not self-diagnose your performance and get disappointed during the tests. What do I mean by this? Just because you could not understand a question, or you could not answer a question the way you like, or you felt like you made some mistakes, don't let this demoralize you. Remember, a few mistakes or hesitations cannot determine your score. Your overall performance during the entire test will be taken into account. Please do not lose your confidence. Just take a deep breath and relax. If you have certain issues such as panic attack, anxiety, dyslexia, ADHD, stuttering, and so on, please see a therapist and get professional help. If you can document your condition, you need to submit it to the test center before your exam date. Do not reveal it to the examiner on the test day when you enter the room. There are special arrangements for the candidates with special circumstances. Dear friends, please bring the identification or passport that you use for registration. This is such an important issue. Many candidates cannot take the test just because they bring the wrong type of identification. If you use your passport for the registration, then take your passport with you. If you use your identification, then take your ID card with you. If you're taking the test in another country, then passport is necessary. Remember, you cannot use your driving license. This is such an important detail. If you bring the wrong ID, you cannot take the test. The only solution will be to transfer your test date to another exam date. But if you need your test result immediately, then you may be in trouble because the test center may not be able to guarantee you a test date that will suit you. So be careful. Dear friends, imagine you study hard for the test for several months and just because you haven't paid enough attention to such details, you have to go through a lot of stress. I mean, it's annoying. Please read all the emails that the test center sends you carefully. So what are those details? The test date and time, the module, academic or general, UKVR or regular IELTS, security measures, I mean what you can take with you and what you cannot, the things you should bring like identification or passport, the venue details. Sometimes the written and the speaking part of the test can be done at separate venues, so be careful. So check your mails properly, and if there is something that you don't understand, please call the exam center. Make sure you go to the correct venue at the right time. You have to be at the venue 20 minutes before your speaking interview. If it's at 9:40, you should be there at 9:20. If you're late for the test, the examiner may not accept you due to her schedule. You cannot take any electronic devices such as mobile phones or smartwatches with you to the test room, so you need to leave everything in the lockers provided. You can only take your keys and some water with you. If you need to wear glasses to read, please take them with you as you will need to read the task given in this second part. You don't need to take a pen or pencil or paper with you as these will be provided by the examiner. So dear friends, I hope you'll find this video useful. And if you have any questions about the IELTS speaking exam, please write in the comments. You may also see my other videos where I give unique information on the speaking part of the test. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.